A very warm welcome to you. I trust your day is going well. If you stop by on this channel, it's because you probably care about parenting, children, character growth, leadership. So it's in order to say a warm welcome to you. My name is Aderonke Fashiru and I want to welcome you beautifully. Okay, before you start to watch any of our videos, feel free to like, make sure you subscribe, and after watching the video, would like to know your thoughts. Please share your comments. Let's know your opinion as well. You will be starting with the WOW event we had on Sunday, developing multiple intelligences in children. It was anchored by Pastor Femi Fashiru. I know you want to know his thoughts. He was practical. He was as real as you can get. Trust me, easy to follow steps. So I know you want to watch this video. Don't forget to share your comments after watching. Welcome.
We thank you for providing everything we need to have fun. And as we continue this day, Father, help us this day in Jesus' name. Amen.
You heard the prayer, or you were just saying amen with the mind that somebody was praying. If you heard the prayer, wave your hand. Today is Sunday. If you really heard the prayer, you did not hear Abby. You did not hear Abby. She needs your soft copy. Did you hear the prayer? Off and on. But you were just saying amen. You don't even hear what you were just saying amen. Can you see? A lot of people just Adedo Kolawole is my name. I go by the stage name Jakes. This is what I do for a living. It's really amazing to be in your presence. It's a privilege to be in your presence. I talk for a living. Yes, a complete man with 2 eyeballs and 2 ears. Any other man with any other complete man can be giving us a more official welcome note from the Manners and Conduct crew. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for her. Keep clapping.
And I want to apologize to those who came a lot earlier. We started a bit late, but we're trying to put things together. Once again, welcome everyone.
The last time we had this, I came for the Hangout, I liked it. So I'm looking forward to learning those about my own. How to be a good mother, how to be a good wife, and to be a better person.
Please, let's put our hands together for her. Okay. So I'll talk to Mr. Awonaki now. What are you looking forward to, sir?
Generally, just to have a nice time. I'm fine. Our local is our day.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. So to my very special mommy, Mrs. Adenuka, what are you looking forward to? Let's hear you. Can you talk? Mommy, you will talk.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to see many more. Yes. But we really said a lot about the hanging out. So let's see.
I hope you will not be disappointed in Jesus' name. Because the one she said, I've talked a lot about the hangout. May I not be put to shame in Jesus' name. So I'll talk to one more person and we'll start. I'm going to be talking to Mrs. Treasure. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to learning more, to learn.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I'm sure every other person is looking forward to learning, unlearning, and relearning. For me, I look forward to everything. This is the 3rd edition of our Parents Hangout, and trust me, from the first, it's been amazing. It's been from one new learning to another. And I want to tell you, our dear parents, that you will not be disappointed. Thank you so much for finding time to spend this evening with us. God bless you all.
The woman who this initiative was given to, who this initiative was dropped into her memories, and she has done so much to make sure that this has come to limelight, that this has come to manifestation. Ladies and gentlemen, this wonderful woman is highly sought after. She's a chartered accountant, and ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you for sure that she's currently sitting on the board of 4 schools internationally, international 4 schools. And you know what it means when you have a woman sitting on the board of 4 schools. 4 schools, international schools. Ladies and gentlemen, I would let her come to do justice, further justice to this brief introduction I've just given you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mrs. Fashio. I hope I got that right. From our way.
Thank you so much, MC Jakes. Good evening, dear parents. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Okoji. Thank you for being here. Good evening, Mr. Shumari. Thank you for being here. It's such a huge honor to receive our parents for the 3rd time. I see a number of new faces. I'm excited. Thank you all for being here. I'm already saying to myself that we can do better with the venue, so I'd like to apologize for the space constraints. Just pardon us, okay? You know, we're all children. And then MC Jakes, you didn't ask me what I was most passionate about, because I was expecting someone to say, I'm passionate about children. I kept hearing family. Nobody said children. Okay, Mr. Shumari said something close. Okay, so this is the part that I like so much. If Mr. Sam is available, Mr. Sam, can you come closer, please? Everyone, please open the papers given to you. Everyone, have you shared papers to everybody? Yes. Okay. You don't have. Okay. Please open the paper given to you, and if you are ready, can I see the berry people? Berry. Okay. Do we have cherry as well? Okay. And do we have what's the 3rd one, Mrs. Sam? Mrs. Sam, what's the 3rd one? Pearl. Good. So if you're in Pearl, please let me see your right hand up. Pearl, right hand up. Yes. Pearl will be going outside. So this is our breakout session. And this, for me, is the height of this event before the guest speaker comes to address us. Okay, so Pearl will be going out. Okay. Number one was Berry, right? Okay, so I'll give you your question, and then I hope. Let me give you the parameters, because there will be a gift. Let me give you the parameters. Before you make your presentation, you have to tell us at least the names of 5 people in your group and what they do. So it's the session where you get to network. Don't just stay on the question. Make sure you take advantage of the person seated beside you. Remember, you're just 2 contacts away from the governor. 2 contacts away from BAT. I'm a BAT fan, so pardon me. I'm an APC member. Okay. Not shocking, right? Okay, all right. So Barry, your question. In the quest to attaining, I'm going to read it out and explain it. In the quest to attaining a healthy and balanced relationship in the home, what level of authority and freedom should parents combine or exercise in raising standards? How much is too much? Now, we have learned, okay, Pastor would come to put the icing on the cake, but we have learned that Gen Z like freedom. They don't like a lot of authority. They don't want to be told what to do every minute. So we want you to advise how much freedom should the parents exercise and what should be the level of authority. That's the question for Berry Group. So you guys appoint a leader and then appoint someone who's going to speak on behalf of the group. So I'll take the question again. In the quest to attaining a healthy and balanced relationship in the home, what level of authority and freedom should parents combine or exercise in raising standards? You need to tell us how much is too much, okay? Number two should be, I think, Cherry. Okay, so number 2. Now, I like to state that I got these questions from the episode we had with the children. The children are doing a lot of reasoning, and it's just important that we're on the same page. So they ask questions that are brought to the house today. Let's deliberate and see that we're on the same page. So number 2, we know that the environment influences and impacts the child's behavior. What key steps can parents take to instill trust and respect in their children, irrespective of the changing trends in the society? Now, I met somebody last week who said she's not so keen about relocating because the internet has brought abroad to your home. Okay, but some of us feel the internet should be kept away from our children because there's a lot of exposure. So now we're asking, what are some things you need to do as a parent to instill trust and respect? Let's see that when your children become teenagers, they do not disregard your opinion anymore. They don't disregard your values. What should parents do? Thank God the MC has helped us to identify that some of us have been married for 7 years, 15 years, so we have a lot to learn from one another. In fact, those who might have got it right could even be the youngest amongst us. Okay, so what steps should we take as parents? Please don't do the normal line. Lead by example, be a role model. Give us very innovative steps that parents can take to instill trust and respect in their children, irrespective of whatever new trends come out. So the third question talks about bullying. Okay, Sylvester's case last year brought a lot of pain and discomfort to the hearts of many parents. But one question that parents do not like to answer is your child a bully? Is your child a bully? How are you sure your own child is not a bully? So the third question is, assuming, what practical steps would you take to ensure that your child gets out of that habit without losing the child? So research has shown that the major cause of bullying relates back to parenting. So if your child has been labeled a bully, why am I saying this? There are lots of children. During the different anti-bullying campaign I went for, so many children told me, my mother always says I should beat my own back. Why would somebody beat you? You're no fool. Make sure you beat back. And somehow we have a lot of bullies everywhere. And those bullies have parents. They're not all orphans. Okay, so in the event that you find out that your child has character issues in that way, what steps would you advise other parents to take? And what can other parents do to ensure that their children do not turn out that way? Are we clear with the questions? Are we clear with the questions? I could take them again. Are we clear with the questions? Okay, we are the members of the Berry group. I will share it on one person's WhatsApp so that we can discuss and then come back. Members of Berry group, please, I'd like you to move over to the pool side. Berry group. One group will remain in here. The third group will remain in here. Okay, I think the 2 groups can be outside. There's enough space. They've allowed that we use the outside. So the group talking about trust and respect would also be outside. The group talking about freedom and authority would be outside as well. Then the third group talking about bullying will be in here. Okay, so parents, we have only 15 minutes to discuss. Okay, so Berry on one side, outside. Remember to meet other parents, get to know them, share ideas. Berry group outside, Cherry group outside as well. You already have a leader. Okay. Cherry is outside as well. Mama, what group are you in? What? Pearl is here. Where are the members of Pearl? Pearl is in here. Let's move this way. Yes, please come over, ma'am. Dear parents, I hope we're ready. Can we have the representative of Berry Group?
Berry.
Let's see how they'll hail their...
Who's representing Berry? Celebrate your homes.
Okay, so remember, you have 5 minutes now, just 5 minutes.
Mrs. Akiode Gabriel. In my group, we have Mr. Aribe. He's an IT person. We have Mrs. Deshola. She is a teacher. We have Mrs. Akiode, myself. I'm a teacher and a fashion designer. We have engineer Akorede. And the last person is Mr. Nicholas. He is a banker. To start with, no discipline is too much for a child. Firstly, as a parent, you must introduce God in your home. Let them know about God. Then secondly, parents should not welcome arguments between themselves in the presence of the children. Even if you are not on the same page, allow the children to sleep. Then you can call yourselves and like, sweetheart, what you said the last time was wrong. Please don't do it again. Then another one is, let your children know that you earn money. Let them know how to work about money. Not, mommy give me money, daddy give me money. Let them know that you work to get money. Then the last and the most important of it all. The last and the most important of it is monitoring your children in whatever they do. Like giving them a phone. You can give a phone to a child regardless of the age. But please, monitor whatever they are doing with it. And let them know that you give respect to anybody and in everywhere. Please, let me give an example of something. In our former house, myself and my husband, we used to do, a Bible study with the children every night. But you know, when we moved to our new house, based on activity, we stopped. But because we are used to it, my child called my husband and he said, Daddy, it's been a while we've done Bible study in this house. Is it that you are not a pastor? Or is it that we shouldn't be doing it? But my husband said, no, we will be doing it, but it's because we have limited time here. He said, please, let's go back to it. Because all the things we are doing here, when it's time for us to do CRK in my class in school, I always come the best. So please, and I want us to know as parents that our children are representing us outside. Whatever we do is what they will do outside. To crown it all, please, no discipline is too much and no discipline is too small to give to a child. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we'll give Mrs. Michael represented our group. Parents Hangout too. Mrs. Michael represented our group. How did you do it this time?
I like how to
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pastor. Good evening, everyone. It's always amazing to be in your midst. And so this evening, we'll be looking at some things, how we can build trust, and how we deal with some things when we go out where we are not. What are the things that we should do? So we first looked at advantages of internet, like the usefulness of internet, why we should allow them. So we talked about it helps them to share information, they meet people, it enhances learning. We know that sometimes when the children come with assignments, we have to go online to check these things and then help them with their work. So we also looked at disadvantages, the negative influences that children pick up online. We talked about pornography. Even as an adult, you can be working and then some tabs will pop up. Because you're an adult, you just look at it and you think it's irrelevant to what you're doing, so you let it go. But for children, they're quite inquisitive. They just want to click it and see what's going on and all of that. So now, to the crux of the matter, how to instill values in children. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we talked about the fact that the first thing is to build a good foundation. Some parents would send their children abroad after secondary school. They are not there, but the children are doing amazing. How do we get to that point? It has a lot to do with what we have instilled in these children. The Bible says that we should train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are grown, they will not depart from it. So we are training children. We cannot train adults. If you bend fresh fish, you'll be able to bend it. But if you try to bend dried fish, you will break it. So yes, that's one side to it. And then we also talked about training them in good ways. We talked about understanding your children's personality. This is one big mistake that a lot of us parents do. We forget that these children are entities on their own. They have inbuilt abilities. They have their own mind. They have understanding. But we see them most times like toys. So we want to tell them, do this, and they don't do it. You are naughty. You are stubborn. They are children. They are person on their own. And we can only do that for a period of time. When, I think from age 7, the traits, their personal traits will be coming out. So you have a sanguine as a child. He's always everywhere, or she's always everywhere. Oh, you talk too much. You are this. You know, you have a male, you have a flag. You have to understand their person, their personality, and deal with that. Yeah, be close to them. A lot of us parents, we are chasing after the money, and we are not looking at our core responsibility. Encourage them. Let them teach them contentment. We have this is the much we have, and this is how far we can go for now. And let it be. Not that a child will go to the supermarket and, mommy, I want this. I'm not getting it. They start rolling on the floor. It has to do away from the house. And then the last one, which is very important, core values. In our house, we respect people. In our house, we encourage ourselves. In our house, when we fail, we stand up, we pick up ourselves, give up. It's all family values. And then we can ask the children to repeat it in the morning before they go out, so that these things it goes deep down and they can go along with their day and their daily activities. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Michael. Very well said. That was beautiful. Okay. We stand, Mr. King.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so we talked about children becoming bullies and how to deal with such trait. By the way, I have in my group, I have one Mrs. Treasure, who's a teacher. I've got Mrs. Agbola, who's a chartered accountant. I've got Mrs. Olubosi, an admin and HR personnel. I've got Mrs. Adenuga, who's a principal officer. Out of their control, they need to seek professional advice. And then we also attempted at looking at advice that we can give to parents out there who are facing the same kind of a situation, but we ran out of time for us to discuss that. However, we'll just mention one of it that we were trying to trash out, which still comes back to the home. If you can get it right from the home, then the children will get it right when they get outside. If you instill those values in them, then you form a wall of defense around them, so that when they get outside, and then the negative traits are coming to them, there's already a defense around them for them to decipher which is good and which is bad. And then we leave the rest to God for Him to help. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to analyze the results, and then I'll also let Mr. Shomori and Mrs. Okoji say a thing or two about it. I want to say big thank you to all the speakers of the different groups, starting from Berry. Okay, Mr. Kiode, you have some preaching talent. I saw you do this, and so I think you should build on that. That was beautiful. But I thought you went out of the topic. You didn't do justice to the topic. You tried to explain, but you didn't tell us anything about the authority and freedom. You tried to balance it at the end, but you were away from the topic. So you scored a 55. You mentioned the names of the members in your group with their some professional time. That was good, but you had a 55. Can we clap for? Very good. Okay, so for Cherry, was that Cherry? That was Cherry. That was Berry. As some people deny their groups now. That was Berry. Okay, because I have the questions. Okay, so the second group, Cherry, Mrs. Michael. Beautiful introduction. You, however, forgot to mention you did a one-man show. You didn't remember the names of the people in your group. You didn't tell us. There was no interaction, and you did justice to the topic. You gave us good points. You were able to nail it. And okay, so sorry, ma. Back to Berry. One of the reasons why your score was low was because you took so much time. You went way beyond time. The children who are in college at the after school know that when they come late on Saturday, what happens? Parents, who can help me out? What happens on Saturday when your child comes late? I've had to lock some children out because I believe that one of the greatest assets a parent can pass to a child is value of time. I like it when we respect time. So I want to encourage that. That's one value. Like we're talking about family and values. Let's insist on time. Timing is really important. So, Mrs. Michael, you tried to do well with your time. You were better with your time, but you forgot there was no interaction. So for interaction, you guys had a low score. But for content, it was beautiful. So you have a 70. Your presentation skill was just right. Can we clap for her? And for the last guys, what do we say to the last guys? What do we think? Working for you. Okay, so. Engineer Kiode was just flowing. He started well. How many of us felt could pick beyond the voice? How many of us could pick the fact that it was a group work? Could we pick the team thing? Yes. So collaboration is one of the 21st century skills that we must all go after. So I liked the collaboration that happened in your group, and then I liked the fact he gave a very wonderful point that I was expecting us to say. I like the fact that he said, before you point out the bully out there, ask yourself if the problem is from you, and don't assume you can fix everything. I'm not going to undermine, thank God we have Pastor here. I'll never undermine the power of prayers, but sometimes you need external help, and when you need it, you've got to go for it. I was expecting you guys to talk about, I think it was the second group, trust and respect. I was expecting someone to talk about the impact of role models and mentors, because either you like it or not, that's what the teenagers want now. Somehow, I don't want to say mommy does not know what she's saying, or mommy's voice is not as sweet as somebody else out there. But when I say the same thing to those children, I always hear, and my mommy told me. So I'll be wondering, so why are you stressing me? Your mommy already told you. So I think somehow I wanted to hear the impact of role models, mentors, know when to resist external influence, know when we did the street classroom. The street classroom, was it street classroom? No, if I were a parent, that episode on Zoom, all the children talked about the impact of maybe a school teacher, the principal in my school, and when I was at the after school, my mom. We must look for that part of a mentor, a role model, somebody who has your child's attention. It would help. At the end of the day, the last group had an 80%. Can we clap for them? There you go. You can still speak opinion. I'm just an high
level. So, there are lots of lawyers. Ms. Bakure, you can hire Ms. Bakure and Mr. Diogo. We have lawyers here. Yeah, so that they can help you out. Okay, but before I wrap up, I'd like to hear what Mr. Shomari has to say, if he doesn't agree or if he has something contrary.
In my own opinion, they held it a fantastic job. You know, it's actually not easy to pull heads together to come and do this kind of thing. So I would like to say a 70% for the berry, the cherry. Okay, and 80% for the cherry, and 85% for the silver. Yeah, but I don't want to dampen the spirit of my lady. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. The Berry Group, I rated them 60%. First of all, sorry, I must appreciate all our efforts. Having to, it's a spontaneous one, an exercise or a task. Well, I'm Mrs. Okoji, I run a school in Supply Town, so I know how it is when we assign tasks or activities in the classroom. Unprepared. You know those ones you go back home with, you have enough time to make your research. But for the ones you on the spot get answers for, as in demand the children to have the activity, you get the best from them. Because then there will be no adult or maybe an adult in the background. So I must appreciate all our efforts for how we've taken our time to even collaborate and come up with this. So the Berry Group had 60%, Cherry Group had 50%, and the Pearl Group 70%. You know, we're pardon my, maybe I'm micronizing the scores, but that's just what it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with that, can we give ourselves a round of applause? Okay, Mr. Oyeshina has something to say. Somebody wants to appeal.
No. It's not an appeal. It's a form of a question. Let me not say it's position to children. And see, look at it. We get position today, it's a form of a challenge. But the school we are running today, you have this seat position, this is your position in class. What does that mean? Why? I feel sometimes it helps the children or the parents to really assess this is how my child is doing in school. But I discovered that the school of today, position is totally out of it. Every child has done well, and then that's how we grade our children. I think it's something we need to look into.
Let me just make that clear. Okay, so Mr. Oyeshina. Hello, Mr. Oyeshina. I know. So many people have been, it's been hot on your mind. Okay, so I would say what the proprietor in my son's school said to me when I was taking the matter over there. He was coming from a school where we're used to, best in CRK, best in this. So we knew his strength and we knew what he wasn't doing well. So I was eager to take him to a new terrain and get him to fight and also maybe get some award, a position like you say. But when I spoke with the woman, she said, why would I want to give your son an award for doing better than somebody else? Is he in school because of some other person? Why would you, she made me understand that in another 20 years, they won't give position in her school. So I needed to know before bringing my child in. Because they are all, they are out to ensure that children always try to beat on their craft. Meaning, this is where I was last term, this is where I want to be. So they do this effort attainment thing so that your child is at the center. Mr. Oyeshina, do I have your attention? Okay, so that your child is at the center of his or her learning point. So I know that, so I've had my children in that school for about 6 years, and I can tell you that I know when their movement is progressive and when it's regressive, because the school does an effort attainment chart, which is just fine. I do not think, now back to college now, when I go and I see them do best in maths, best in this, I see other children do this. So somebody who failed first term and worked hard second term,
worked hard for them only to see that he did not get a prize. I've had some children tell me, what's all the effort for if they're only going to celebrate 1, 2, 3? I do not think, I'm not speaking for the schools, I don't run a school, but I feel one of the reasons why schools moved away from giving positions is because they made up their minds that they were not after the best in the school. The whole thing is to see how to push as many people. So it's about the child being at the center of his or her learning point, not who is better, because the first in the school, by the time you bring children from other schools, at the after school we have about 16 schools, and some children that I know that are the best in their school, they are not as good as others from other schools. So if you are the best in your school, that does not make you the best. Instead, you just make a child complacent, because if you can do an 80, you know, children always say, I finished first, I got the highest. My son will say, Mommy, I came first, I did this. And I'm like, okay, if you got 18, what did you get last time? If you got 18 now, you had 20 last time, you didn't do well now, even if you came first. So I think we should move from competition to collaboration. So maybe what schools want to do is to see that the children ensure that they are better than they used to be, not that they are better than the next person in the class. That's my one cover explanation. But Mr. Kumari and Mr. Kwaji, let's see what they do.
It was a great opportunity to have Ms. Fash come over to Mater Day School for over 3 or 4 years, handling character education. So she's our etiquette to go plug. And each time we engage in conversations, I always tell her that my goal in Mater Day School is character first. That academic, we know we need to be on point, but the character should be top notch in such a way that we hire the outside world, we hire for skills and fire for attitude. So if we are focused on the skills, academic performance, and we play down on the character, at the end of the day, we'll have ourselves to blame. I was just sharing with my neighbor here, I said that collaboration is the new competition. What positioning breeds? Mater Day School from day one, there is nothing called positioning on the report sheet. Even when parents, the traditional school comes up with that notion, I will tell them, would you rather breed, it breeds unhealthy, with it, even, I wouldn't know how to, you will be grooming them from at that little age. By the time they get into university, you can imagine, okay, go and do research or projects with your team group. They won't be able to collaborate because all the while they've grown with be on my own, do this, let me be the best, let me be on top. Team playing is one of the needed soft skills in this century. So please, as parents, let's discourage competition, even comparison between siblings. Your brother is better than you, your sister, why can't you behave like her? No. It starts and it breeds a lot of hate in the child. So please, let's try and understand that collaboration is the new competition. And when we have children brought up or raised in that route, you will see them turning out to be the best. Thank you.
Mr. Oyeshida, the ladies have done justice to the question you've asked. And for my non-Yoruba speaking audience now, I would get Mrs. Bacheru to interpret. Editobodo Obamak. You understand? It simply means that for the fact that you have attempted to sit and write an exam or whatever task, you've done well. You understand? So please, let's always encourage. The first thing you will have to actually need to get into your children when they are of school age is the interest. No matter how brilliant a child is, once you dampen that spirit, you could tell when I was awarding math, I tried to, I wasn't comfortable with the 55%. I just wanted to, encourage that group. So you please always encourage and please bring out the interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we'll still have time to gist, but Pastor hasn't got all day, so let's see that we can make good use of his time. Pastor, first and foremost, we have many fashions here. There are some people that are not fashion. There's Jennifer Fashion, there's Sam Fashion. So there's Mrs. Michael Fashion, there's Abola Fashion. Okay, and I want to appeal. I remember when we had. Sorry? Okay. I remember when we had a family function in December and Pastor Femi said, okay, come here. Let's even say we are listing the Mrs. Fash. You are number one as you colonize the name. So please, for today I'm Fashion, please. No Mrs. Fash, I don't want. let's take it easy on the name. Okay, so today is really a very special day for me because I had seen this picture in my head a long time ago. I just imagined that one day we'll have the privilege. God will take us to a point where we can bring Pastor Femi in, because it's not easy to drag him in. I know he loves family, but Pastor Femi is someone that we don't just encroach into his time, but he said he wanted to meet all of us today. He said to me, he said, I would like to meet everybody. So I think it's a huge honor. Okay, so we are honored, we're privileged to have a pastor, a role model to many. Pastor Femi has many grandchildren, non-biological, many grandchildren, so many. He has many other families. I mean, he's someone who I know that we're going to enjoy listening to. I'd like to crave your indulgence. Put your phones on silence. Give it maximum attention. We can do the meal simultaneously. It's supposed to be a wow time. And we're going to have a talk show afterwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hand you over to the very comfortable arms of my brother, my pastor, my role model, my mentor.
Of what the Lord is using you to do. I'm really, really proud. And this is a great gathering. And if some of us years back had this privilege and opportunity, maybe we will have done better with what we have done in our lives. So I envy each and every one of you for having this kind of a privilege. This is Hangout number 3. So you guys are so blessed and so blessed and so blessed. It's a joy to be able to contribute to the discussions that have been going on. Please forgive me, I'm going to probably jump in. I'm supposed to be speaking on family ideologies as well as developing multiple intelligence in our children. That one, I will slide into it, and I know that Mrs. Yeah, but she's fashion too. I know she's a little bit tired. This is my 4th meeting today. Of course, it's Sunday. Sunday is my work day. So I started my day actively working, not counting the dressing time and all that. I started 7:30. And it's been one meeting or the other. I just rushed from one, left them just to be here. So I promise that I won't speak for long, but I pray that what I would say will make sense. So I want to start with the controversy, and I feel from my brother over there, Mr. Oyeshino Fashiru somehow. Alright, since we are all Fashiru clan, okay? I share your sentiment, and like I said, it's a controversy. It's not basically going against your thoughts, but it's just for you to know that there is this still part of our world that is still confused about that. It's an ideology. I've been part of policy making, all right, and it's like when something seems to be a disadvantage in one way, sometimes policymakers, they try to do something to counter that without having a holistic view of everything. What I've heard about cancelling the positioning, it's about those who have been scoring Odo. I've not heard about the effect really on the person that has been scoring first. I was sandwiched between two brothers who were very, very brilliant in school when we were young.
They will come with first. My elder brother will come with first. My younger brother will come with first. And I will come with, I also had one as well. So my usual score was 11. And the truth of the matter is, but for my siblings, I would have been complacent. That's the truth of the matter. Because it wasn't as if I was dull, but I wasn't just first. So they present their report card and it was first. I will present mine and it was 11th. And my parents will make me see, because of the positioning, they will make me say that you still have to try. I could do better. I knew I could do better. When they were reading, I wouldn't read because I love to play. But somewhere in life, I knew that at some point I had to do better, because nobody sugarcoated anything for me. I understand the perception from the person who will feel bad because the person hasn't done well. This new policy seems to want the person who hasn't done well to feel good. The real life after education, because life does not stop in the school. School is supposed to prepare us for life. I understand collaboration. I understand the importance of collaboration. There is hardly anything great that you can do that you won't collaborate with people. But life itself is competitive. All along the line is competitive. If you want to enter university, they will tell you that they only have 50 slots for medicine. 50 slots for medicine. And that is competitive in itself. The first 50. Alright? So, life is competitive. So what we are doing right now is allowing our children not to have that competitive spirit. Competition is good. In my days, there is something they call healthy competition. Not all competition is bad. So positioning will bring an awareness that in the rating that has just been done, if I'm 5th in position, then I have something to aspire to. If I'm first, I always want to be first. Once in a while, when my siblings, when they slide from the first to second, they cried home. They cried home. And anytime I slide from my 11th to 9th, I danced home. That's the reality of the world I grew up in, and that's the reality of the world I'm living in. I don't understand it. So when the school system refused to have positioning, that's kind of competition with my children, I began to put a competition around them that will make them to strive to be whom God has called them to be. So if I may, I will just slide into what I wanted to talk about in terms of family ideologies, as well as developing a multiple intelligence in our children. And I thought the best way to deal with this is not to come here today as a preacher. Because some of you, by the time I begin to quote scriptures, I probably lose you. Because some of you say, well, I'm dealing with real life situation. Real life situation. Yes, I know that the Bible attends to real life situation, but it's better that we come from the known to be able to begin to go to the unknown. So I want to talk to you about my own family ideology. My biological children, 3 of them. The first one was born in 1998. Sorry, my arithmetic, sometimes I just want to be accurate, so I don't want to guess their age. So we're in 2022, so he's 24. 24, still single. He has his master's degree in artificial intelligence after having finished his first degree in artificial intelligence. He's only worked for less than 2 years. But because God has helped me to put some sort of competitive spirit in him, he targeted that he will buy his own house, even though he doesn't need it, before he turned 24. My son bought his house after having worked for less than 2 years. And I did not have one kobo to the purchase of the house. I only gave him money to add to whatever I was going to use to furnish it. He wasn't competing with anybody, but he was competing with himself. He wanted to achieve something. He wanted to make his dad proud. He wanted to not hide under the shadow of his father. He wanted to be a man of his home. I called my son when my son was 16 years old. He was about getting ready to go to England to study. So I let him in into one or two things I was doing in terms of business, gave him an idea of how much savings I have, how much money I have, how my business was doing. And I told him and I said, I'm showing you all of these things so that you will realize that someday you will have to help your dad out so that you can continue these things and even make it better. I was amazed at his response. He looked at it. He said, Dad, I didn't even have a clue that you're this involved in business. You have done well. But Dad, I can only promise that I will give your business interest maximum 20% because I also have my dreams. I have my vision. I have some things I would like to do for myself. But 20% or thereabout, I can commit it to you. He was only 16 years old. The kind of a portfolio that I thought a child would be so happy to say, oh, and you know, let's get going. The scriptures talks about our children, and it says that they are arrows in our hands. I don't know if you know what that scripture actually is talking about. Let me just put my phone away so I can show you. My mic may be out of my mouth for a couple of minutes. You know the bow of the arrow. You know the bow and the arrow. Now basically what the scripture is saying is how far your child is going to go in life depends on how it depends on you. It depends on your family ideology. It depends on what you put into your child. Your child will only turn out to be a lawyer if you have sown the seed of him or her studying law in them. Something strange yet again is happening in the world that I've come to now know. Some counselors are saying that the children should be left alone to choose. That children should be left alone to choose the path of their career. I don't know anyone over here when you were 16, when you were 15. I entered the university at the age of 16 and I still lost a year in secondary school. I don't know when you were 16, when you were 15. I don't know if you could actually make a good decision about your destiny. What is happening today is that they are saying that let your child launch himself or herself instead of the parent being the one who has strength. Sorry, don't water.
Right, thank you.
Sorry, when I'm done, family, as it is to me, and I'm not a custodian of wisdom. I know that other people, but this is just me having my own blog. And like I said, this is what I practiced. So my children, they went to finish their secondary school in the UK and university and what have you. And they were going to have the ideology of the Western world. And they were going to come. It was a lot easier for my son because I was a trained IT professional. That is what I did. That is what I did before I started pastoring. So the boy basically saw my library. And in my library, what you find there is things that has to do with church and the things that have to do with IT. So he was quick to say, I want to be an IT person. But my daughter spoke a lot of English. Dad, I'm supposed to choose whatever I want to do. Dad, I'm supposed to choose my own path. And I said, look, when I was your age, I couldn't choose anything for myself. I couldn't choose the clothes I'm going to wear. Not to talk about me letting you choose the part of your destiny. That's why you have a parent. I said, I will choose for you when you are old. Go and choose for yourself. I don't know whether I sound like an African father. Yeah, but we're talking about family ideology. We are Africans. We're Africans. We're Africans. My first degree was in botany. If I did not do a career change, there is nobody who is going to employ me to come and do the horticulture. I won't have a job. So a child says, "Oh, I like animals, so I'm going to study zoology." You can study zoology, but please help me go to med school first. When you are done in med school, go and do your masters in zoology. But at least you have something that you can fall back on. In the Western world, if you don't have a job, you can fall on the queen. You will get gyro. But in Africa, can't fall back on no one. So we have to be careful that we are not importing these Western ideologies to raise African children. Our situation here is different from what is over there. Because most of the things that I hear, that I see around, that people are practicing, is what they download from the internet. That's not the real life. If the internet is anything to go by, Labour Party will have won the election in Ekiti State.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I'm joking. I know this is a serious matter. But in my jokes is my passion. How far your child is going to go is not dependent on the school that your child attends. The educationist just told us now that character is what is big in their school. So she's looking for a child that has character and is willing to accept for them to develop their character. What she's saying, in other words, is that if they find the character of a child wanting to an extent, that child will not be qualified to be in their school. The responsibility of how far your child is going to go is not in the hand of your pastor. It's not in the hand of the Sunday school teacher. It's your responsibility. If you shoot with this velocity, that's what you're going to get. If you stretch, that's what you're going to get. If you put all your energy to launch, that's what you're going to get. So basically, your child will not become a doctor if you have not introduced your child to that field. Because by themselves, they're not brilliant or intelligent enough to be able to say, this is what is good. Whatever your child comes home to tell you is good, it's because somebody said it. And people have wacky ideas. Somebody interpreted the Bible. I was told that the person was smoking weed. So I called the boy. I said, guy, weed? Are you smoking weed? Is it true you're smoking weed? He said, yes, Pastor. Yes, I do. I said, why are you smoking weed? Because I want to understand, because there is a reason why something is happening. And the guy says that, but Bible says that everything that has been created is for our use. So, because it's for your use, so that's why you are smoking it. So, lion is for your use, so you can get lion and bring lion inside your room. You can't take something in that has capacity to hurt you or harm you. So a child, based on the level of their intelligence, will interpret things. But for them to be smart and be really intelligent, they need somebody who is intelligent, who is going to impart. Somebody who is going to share knowledge with them. And there is no better person to do that than yourself. Just that I must just quote a Bible verse. It's in the blood. Proverbs 22 verse 6. Mrs. Michael, right? She's mentioned it earlier on. Train your child in the way that he or she should go. When he grows up, he will not depart from it. That's it. Don't forget that as a parent. If you don't train them, then they have no training. When they grow up, they are bound to do anything and everything. Whatever you train them to do. I heard somebody saying you can give a mobile phone to any child, you just have to monitor. That's theoretical to me. It's theoretical. I will tell you, as a teenager, when I used to go to clubs and go to parties, sometimes for 3 months, my parents thought I was sleeping in the house, and I wasn't sleeping in the house. 10 o'clock in the night, my friends would come, drive some distance away from the house, tiptoed, knock on something, I know they're there. When my parents thought I locked the door, I didn't lock the door, I just basically just closed the door. And what will happen is I'll go to party, come back like 4 before they wake up, but I dare not lock the door because they will hear the knock. So the door was left ajar all night for about 3 months while I was partying. 50 that I told my mom. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it. Some nights, we will party from Osun State to Oyo State to Ogun State to Lagos State, and I will be on my bed 6 o'clock in the morning in Osun State. And my parents did not have a clue. My father, my mother, they were disciplinarians. But I did things they never thought their child could do. So there are certain things they will not look at that I was doing. So the best thing is not for you to think that the success of your parenthood will be based on monitoring. It has to be based on training. Training. trained them. Number one, as my children were growing up, from my experience, I trained them to honor me and their mother. You see, if they don't honor you and your spouse, they will find it difficult to honor God. Because you are the one who introduced them to God. You are the one who is going to tell them to go to church. If they don't honor you, they will not go to church with you. So I taught them to honor me and honor their mom. Since they honored me and their mom, if we tell them this is what you should do, at least, even if they do not agree, most of the time they don't agree. Like I told you, that's what I told you. They live in the Western world and they see us as African parents. And I always tell them I have no apology. It's when you have apology that they begin to think something is wrong with you being an African parent. I told them I have no apology. And I told them that as long as you are still under my roof, only one person is the boss. And that is me. And I told them in the UK, once you are 16 or 18 or whatever it is, you are considered to be an adult. And I said, not in my house. You are only an adult when you leave my roof. We had that understanding. And even though that was conflicting with what they found in the Western world, but because they've been trained to honor me, even though they don't like it, they have to comply. So fast forward to my son, who grudgingly complied with all of that. When he was going to buy his house, I would imagine that he was going to buy his house far away from the house so that he can at least have his freedom. But he bought his house 5 minutes away from the house. When I went in May, I had a look at the place and I asked him, so when are you moving? He says, when did I say I'm moving? He says, I'm not moving. I'm using the place for Airbnb. I said to him, I said, I thought you'd be tired of my rules and my regulations and my policies, that opportunity you have to leave, you will leave. He says, no, there is nothing wrong with your rules and your regulations. They were just things that helped us to be better people in life. He says, Dad, the truth of the matter is all the things you were saying, we were seeing them in the people we went to school with. He said, do you know that when I was in secondary school, there were guys in there that were smoking? He says, everything you were saying, we were seeing it. Even though we were like kind of not agreeing with you, but I've only been able to do what I've done now because of the way that you have raised me. That's what it is. When they grow up, they will come back and say thank you to you. They will come back and say thank you to you. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers here. My second son sent me a text message I woke up to this morning. And he said, happy Father's Day, Dad. I love you so much. And thank you for making life easier for us. He's only going to be 19 in August. He has come to find out that the way, the ideologies that have been planted into him is to make life easier for him. Oh, there are strict conditions that are not like the 21st century. So we train them to honor us. In the school they went, they wanted to go to another school, but they had to honor us. The way they live their lives, for example, none of my kids will go and sleep over somewhere else. None of my kids will go and sleep over somewhere else. I don't know what happens in the house they want to go and sleep over. I don't know what those parents are doing. And I don't want to assume. Because these are the arrows that I'm shooting. I don't want anybody to limit them. Even though they live alone, I won't let them sleep somewhere else. They can go out with their friends. They have a time they will come back home. Not that they kind of like it. Barely 3 weeks ago, my daughter was still in tears when she did the video call to me. She's 21. A friend of ours was going to have a sleepover party. And she had told the friend, sorry, I cannot attend your party because my parents will not allow me to sleep over. She's going to be 21 in December. So the friend said to her, he said, but you haven't asked your parents. They know how close we are. And she said, no, I can't ask them because I know the answer they will give to me. And then the other person went and said, well, as a friend, I'm always there for you. You are never there for me. How will I hold my party and you won't be there? You are not there for me. And the other one was in tears. So my daughter was in tears. So my daughter called me and I said, what's wrong with you? He said, no, Dad, it's nothing. He said, what? Something is bothering you. He said, yes, it's my friend. I just spoke to my friend's birthday, this and that, da. He said, Dad, I'm not asking you to let me go, but I just want to just tell you what happened. That it makes her feel bad that her friend thinks that she is not watching her back. And I said to her, do you think you should go? She said, no. I know what the policy is. It's just that I feel bad that she feels bad about it. And I said, I'm still not going to let you go. Even though that I know that you understand that you shouldn't go. Because the right thing to do is for you not to go. If she wanted you in her party and she knew that you don't go to night parties, she would do it in the afternoon. The problem is not yours. The problem is her own. She's just playing a guilt trip on you. And she understood. I said, do everything you can to let her know that you are a good friend, blah, blah, blah. But your family ideology is your family ideology. Until you have your own nuclear family, you have to abide with that ideology. End of story. I feel for her, but as a parent, I have to do the right thing. Oh, what's wrong with her going to night parties and all of that? Well, I lost a friend who went to club at night. I've never lost a friend who went to a party during the day. From my experience, personal experience. Personal experience. And I asked her, when did you see me go to night party? Train your child in the way that he should go. So the first thing that you must prioritize is to train your child to honor you. Honor you. Also train your child to also be free with you. Train your child to be free with you. Don't shut them up. Be prepared to have conversation with your children. Our parents will shut us up. I don't know whether you had a parent like mine. But these children of nowadays, they are expressive. Don't shut them up. Engage them in a conversation. If what you are saying, if the path you are showing them, if you are convinced of it and you are convicted, you will be able to explain to them. Apart from that, also teach them accountability. Teach them accountability. They won't like it. But never forget, it depends on how you stretch. That will depend on how they will end up. I teach my children accountability. Myself and their mom, periodically we go through their accounts. We know what they have, we know what they spend, we know what they spend it on. So even if we don't check in 3 months, they know that someday very soon we will be checking. Even though we don't live with them in the UK, they know that someday we'll be checking. So once they are conscious of that, as they practice accountability with us, they will grow up to practice accountability with their world. So it's not the 200 pounds that we give to them that we are after, but we are training them to be accountable. Number 4, train them to be responsible. Train them to be responsible. When they grow up, they will become responsible children. Train them to be responsible to people around them, responsible in school. Train them to be responsible even to you. Number 5, train them on the things that worked for you, your successes. I told you I called my son and I began to show my son stuff. The things that work for you, you need to train them. Like honesty. Explain to them. Honesty is not easy for those who do not realize that lies does not last. Once you train them, honesty, they will be honest. You're supposed to meet up with somebody, you ask the person, and you say, where is the person? The person says, I'm at Cantonment. You're at Cantonment right there. He says, okay, you are there. Okay, I'll meet you up there. And then you drive to Cantonment, the person is not there. Has he not become a liar? Tell your children lies will always be exposed, and when it's exposed, you will feel worse than if you had told the truth about something that you did wrong. Train them on integrity. Also, don't keep away from them the places where you have failed. Very important. So that the sour grape that the parents had to eat, the children will not set their teeth on it. Let them know. In this area, in that area, in that area, you made wrong choices. And this is the repercussion. So I don't want you to go that way. I want you to go this way. So it's training and training and the training. They gravitate towards what you do much more than what you say. Like Aderonke said, you have to be a great role model for your children. So the discipline starts from you. What you don't want them to do, you don't do it. Otherwise, there will be strife. Because when they are confused, Dad is saying this, or Mom is saying this, but they do it, but they're not letting us do it. Then it becomes a struggle. Train them to be responsible. Let them know that there are things that they have to do for you. Because at the end of the day, when you grow old, it's not the things that you keep for yourself that brings you joy ultimately, but the rewards of the way you have trained your children. There will be a time that is not the things that you have saved that will really, really be big deal to you. Not the car that you have used your own money to buy. But the fact that your child has grown up to be able to have for himself and his family and have extra to be able to bring to you as a parent. That's what brings you joy at that stage of your life. To say that the training I give to this child is rewarding. One more time, it's training, 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 training. On the ideologies that you understand, that you believe, that you have conviction in, that can make them as arrows that will go far in life, and not to rely on some internet ideologies that you don't understand, or some Western culture that we are not going to practice. I pray that the Lord will help us all. In Jesus' mighty name.
I think they take individuality serious, and they go at pace with which they believe that that child will get a success out of what they are doing, and then they are actually interested in that. And that's on academics. On character, there are some things that you cannot see or you cannot do, of which you will be told that daddy or mommy, this one is not right. So when I ask them, so who told you that this one is not right? Sarah, they tell me Miss Jenny, Miss Vash, Mr. Sam, and then you begin to know. I say, yes, they are right. This thing is actually not right. So in all, I think it's fair, it's good. It's a plus to my own home, it's a plus to my family, it's a plus to my children's life, and I can only pray that the Lord will continue to bless them in all that they do, in all that the manners and conduct crew do, and then the reward.